Welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast. My name is Ian Ray, your host today. And today I have Ariana Champlin from Brooklyn, New York. She's a level 3 fast stretch therapist. Um, Ariana, welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I'd like to see wait, first of all, what part of Brooklyn are you in?
So I recently moved back to New York City. I was here for 13 years, then in California for a few. So I'm just on the line of Bed-Stuy and Clinton Hill. So I'm loving being here. Yeah, it's great. It's great to be back.
What made you back to California?
I think after being in New York City for 13 years, so I originally grew up in Maine. Very different, and then loved New York City, but my first career was in dance. And so I had just switched into FST. It was 7 years ago, so career switch.
Mhm.
And I think because I'd lived so many lives in New York City, and I was like, I just need a little. One of my friends here was like, "You needed a palate cleanse." I was like, I need a switch up, a little change. So I ended up in Santa Barbara, California. Beautiful,
Love that place.
beautiful.
Beautiful there. Yeah.
It's gorgeous. And I ended up only being there for about 3.5 years, but it was like I
Mhm.
did that time. And then I started missing more and more things about New York. And just, I think my community is here, honestly. The move back, the only hard part was I was like, oh, I'd fully built my business. So I was like booked out about 4 weeks ahead. And I was like, oh yeah, we gotta do the rebuild in Brooklyn now. It's like everything else is great, but we gotta do this rebuild. But it feels good to be back. So that's nice.
That's awesome. I lived in California as well. I lived in like San Francisco, Atascadero, even down like greater LA area in Bakersfield. So yeah, I've been around Santa Barbara.
You know the areas. Now it's all really beautiful. Right around Santa
Mhm.
Barbara is gorgeous. It's a fun spot to be for a little bit.
Yeah. So how did you get into fascia stretch therapy? Give us the story. Like you were a dancer, like you said, but like how did FSD come into play in your life?
Yeah. So dance career for many years and, love dance, really passionate about it. And there was finally a point where I was just ready for that career switch. As a dancer, you're still also working maybe three other jobs, especially in New York. I was searching, and then one of my best friends, we actually danced together. We went to dance school together, really close friends. She had done her level 1 FST certification not that long before, and she said, "Hey, I think you should look into this. I think you'd really like it." So I looked into it. I was just reading up about it, and it really intrigued me. And so I ended up signing up for level 1. 7 years ago, it was March 7 years ago. Went to my first, my level 1 course. And when I got there, I tell you, I was like, okay, I think, this sounds interesting. I think I'll enjoy it. I fell in love with this work. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really passionate about this. This is amazing. That was really exciting to me because as someone who had been really passionate about my career in dance, I was like that. I was like, I want to really be passionate about whatever it is that I'm doing. And the fun part is, even when I was in my dance career, it was already kind of like, somebody else would say, oh, they had, their ankles hurting. I was trying to help them puzzle solve and I didn't have the skill set. So I was like, I'm already doing this. So now it's like, oh, cool. Now I have the skill set to actually help people when they're like, oh, this is hurting or this doesn't feel good or this, chronic pain issue. So it's really fun because I was like, oh, my brain was already trying to do that. But now it's like, now I've got the skill set to really help people. So yeah, I fell in love with it. Love the work.
Is your friend still an FSC practitioner?
Yeah, she is. In fact, we did our level 3 together back in 2019, which was really fun. But she's in Vancouver in BC in Canada. So yeah. Yeah. If you're in Canada, go see her.
Cool. And then currently, right now, who's your typical demographic or population that comes to see you at your studio?
Sure. I feel like I have a really well-rounded, I kind of love seeing people from all walks of life, lifestyles, backgrounds. That really interests me. I like having, well, this person's really different. I mean, obviously every individual human has their own history, so they're going to be different.
Yeah.
I do love working with athletes, dancers, just because there's a certain awareness typically in their body that's really fun. But what I also love, because most of my population is not that, is helping people find that awareness, because most people are just so unaware in their bodies, and so I like working with people, all across the board. Yeah, just, "You're human, come see me." Oh, I find that really fun, because everyone's their own complex history and, lifestyle and just what's going on in their being, no matter what, it's gonna be different. Yeah. No, I appreciate it, 'cause a lot of really amazing people find me, so I love it. I just get to know some really extraordinary humans.
Yeah. Did you, I guess, initially when you were enrolling to the Stretch to Win course to get your level one, did you have any like hesitancy at all, or did you not because you were referred by your friend?
Honestly, I really didn't. I think partially because I was referred by my friend and she knows me. She's like a sister. So I was like, okay, she knows me pretty darn well. And also, I think I'm the type when I'd read about it, looked into it, and then I was like, no, I'm interested and I'll just dive into something. I'm someone who hesitate. If I hesitate, then it's probably not for me, So like my personality type of like, no, this sounds great. Let me just go for it. I'm gonna take that leap,
Mhm.
just dive into it and go for it. And I'm so glad I did. So yeah, no hesitations for me, for sure. Not that I remember at this point.
What would you tell that person who is on the fence, enrolling to this course? Because I mean, it is a big financial commitment, time away from, your work. But like, what would you tell that one person who's on the fence about enrolling in the course?
Gosh, I mean, I think they do a really wonderful job with the atmosphere in these workshops. It's really everyone's helping each other, everyone's there to support each other. There's play and there's fun, which I love because I think some people with courses think they have to be so serious in order to teach anything. And it's so not true because we learn so much more when we're allowed to laugh or play during it too. So you're going to be crammed with information. Your brain might feel like it's going to explode, but then it's like it all filter in. So like, don't stress about that. But it's just like I've met some people that I still know and I'm friends with to this day, through the courses, which I love. And I think everyone's just there to help and support and also just enjoy the time. And all the instructors and Ann and Chris Frederick are so great at just setting that up as a welcoming experience. Yeah, unlike, others that that I think they just do a really great job at setting it up and being really welcoming to everybody. I'd say that's a big
And
piece.
then
Yeah.
you,
Sorry, you're gonna learn so much about your own body as well as helping others, so that's just great as well.
what you call it, for you, like currently, so you've been doing this for 7 years, and then I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like probably looking up stretch therapy or fascia, but do you have to educate your clients on the word fascia or what you're doing typically? Because you're not just doing assisted stretching or traditional stretch therapy, you're doing fascia stretch. So how do you explain to someone like what makes you so different than other practitioners?
Yeah, absolutely. I think more and more people do know about fascia, as you said, that's more commonly known. But I always love to tell people the technique that I use. It's so individualized. And then fascia, working through fascia in general, I love it because we're not chasing a pain site. We're going to look through all the fascial meridians. We're going to find out where the root cause is. Therefore, we can actually help that out so that you're not going to continue having this pattern in your body of like, oh, well, this keeps coming back, because, oh, we only keep, some people go and it's like, oh, your shoulder's hurting. Great. Let me just like hammer at your shoulder. And I'm like, actually, it's probably might be your hip. It might be over here, and I think that's the beautiful thing about working with fascia is like not only I would say, okay, here's working with my fascia brain, because I also do lymphatic drainage, but I'm like, I'm gonna do both. And like working with the fascia brain is great. We're gonna look through these meridians. We're gonna feel, like I say, it's so individualized. And so the feel when you're actually working on somebody and you can feel if something's restricted. Oh, this hip is really restricted over here. Okay, let's gently unwind and see if we can work through that. And that could be causing that shoulder discomfort. And I might not even touch your shoulder. So I love educating people on the fact that with fascia, it's like we're looking at the body as a system as a whole because fascia connects everything. And so that's where we can really make some really big shifts in the body, and long lasting shifts in the body when you work with a fascia tissue. And particularly, I think, in this technique, because it is gentle, which is another way I have to help people reframe their mind, because a lot of times people think something has to hurt in order to be working. And I'm like, okay, we got to get out of that mentality, because it's so not true. And oftentimes the gentle techniques are the ones that are really going to last. So I think there's just helping people reframe and understand that. And then they feel it in their body and they go, oh, okay, I can understand. But I think there still is a lot of educating and just giving people, a better understanding of what fascia is and how it can help them and what they're experiencing. So yeah, definitely education.
So as far as fascia, the word fascia, how would you explain to someone what fascia is who doesn't know about it? Like, do you typically get an analogy or like an example with your clients?
Sure. I mean, I love, besides just telling people that this is what connects and holds together everything in your body, muscles, organs, nerves, bones, etc. I love, there's a little like visuals that people are so visual at this point. So it's like, okay, say you're wearing a t-shirt. And you're like, think of this as like your fascia covering your body and holding everything together. And then I'll kind of like curl. Okay, we're going to tug at one side. Now see where the rest of that shirt follows. Okay, that's your whole fascia system. And I think people love the visual of it because it's like, oh, that's pulling on everything else. So no wonder this is tangled here, but look at all the other pieces. Oh, it's pulling at my hips. It's pulling at my diaphragm, my rib cage. It's pulling, that whole leg. And I think that visual is really helpful for a lot of people because, yeah, I can say, hey, this connects and here are all the meridians. But I think having an actual visual, anytime I show that to people, I can see kind of a light bulb and understanding of, oh, that's how it reacts in my body. So maybe this got tight over here, but look at how it pulls all these different strands, within the body, how we become unaligned and have that discomfort or that pain. So I think that visual is honestly the one that usually works the best for people.
Yeah. No, especially when we physically can't see it, surface wise. So like that's a great example for sure. Cause like they have to trust you that, what you're doing is, like I said, there's many of these fascial lines, that underneath that stuff you physically can't see and touch. So
Yeah, exactly. And I love showing them Tom Myers anatomy trains, like I'll have the posters or let me show a visual that way too. And I think that helps. But I think actually seeing like the analogy with the shirt or, of just, oh, okay, that's how it actually works. And I can pull, on these different meridians and different connections in the body, I think is really helpful. So yeah.
can you share with us some success stories or wins that you've seen of how fascia stretch therapy has helped some of your clients?
Gosh. And there are just so many stories of I've had people either be it the next day message me and be like, oh my gosh, I just woke up for the first time without any pain, in months or years, or, right after a session, suddenly just the face of like, they go to move that arm or that hip and like, it doesn't hurt, just kind of like the shock and awe. And I think there's so many tales that way. Or I had someone be like, oh my gosh, like you worked on my shoulder. And obviously it was more than the shoulder, it was like through diaphragm, or, thoracic spine, but it was like, I can breathe better. Or like, or sometimes someone will have a big emotional release and that's a piece of it. But there's so many ones where it's just like, oh my gosh, I just walked for the first time without pain in like months. Or, I've had this chronic pain for like 8, 15, 20 years and it's not there, I don't feel it anymore. And I think it's all those that just like gather, especially over 7 years. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, all these different ones. And then the beautiful part too is like working with somebody over time. And I always tell people when they start, my goal is to get you. So we're just in maintenance mode. You pop into me, but you have, tools to help yourself. If you're good at doing your homework, which we know not everybody is, but that's okay. But even like you do the first few sessions and we get you to a place where, okay, your body is doing well, and you just pop in for those maintenance, sessions here and there as you want. I mean, you're welcome to come see me, every week or every other if you want to, but like, let's get it so that we're not having those bigger issues, we're just keeping things, happy. But oh my God, now I've lost my train of thought because I was going through that whole thing. But then people just being like over time kind of going, oh my gosh, they just the fact that they're just now able to enjoy things that maybe it's like they weren't able to do certain activities and they could do those again. Or, just they come in every few weeks and it's, oh, I'm doing well. And this one little thing happened. So we're going to, okay, we're going to fix that. But just that overall their life has just become more fulfilled because they're not constantly discomfort and pain. And that's just beautiful because it's like there's a wonderful snowball effect with this work as you just uncover layers, and then it's finally it's just better and better each time. And so you're just suddenly, okay, you have a greater life because you're not just dealing with pain constantly. And I think a lot of people just get used to saying, oh, well, I've just got to deal with the pain. And I'm like, no, you shouldn't be living with chronic pain. So let's just assist.
That's so wonderful. Yeah, because I love hearing the stories, real life clients, because the work that we do, it's either you can see it impact right away or it's say like later down the road, and we just don't know how we can help them. And it's just so amazing that this type of modality, like you say, is gentle. But it's so long lasting, than just your traditional thinning or myofascial release.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love hearing those types of stories.
Definitely.
I guess for you, how do you typically find new clients? I'm shifting gears now to more like the business aspect. Like when you first started from the ground up, not knowing anyone, like how did you first start your business? Like your practice, like were you out going, talk to everyone and anyone? Did you go to influencers? Like what did you do?
I've done well. Now it's so funny because now I'm building my practice really for the third time because I built it in New York initially, then in California. And then when I moved back to New York, it had been long enough. A lot of people, I think post pandemic too, but I had moved. And then I'm also setting up in Brooklyn, which is different than Manhattan. But I found, let's say, especially California and then here and kind of the rebuild is there are so many different avenues and I'll just use them all. I've reached out to people through social media. So say Instagram, if I find I'm like, what would so say personal trainers, okay, all of their clients can use what I do is a really good balance. And I'll also reach out. I love building a network of people who do like acupuncture, who maybe do craniosacral therapy, like just different modalities, maybe massage in there. But it's like ones that also like I find acupuncture and FST are a great combination, or just something where it's like, oh yeah, well, acupuncture, they're not getting the manual work in the same way. So a lot of them might need somebody who does fascial stretching. So I'll reach out that way. I've definitely done like Instagram ads and Google ads here or there. I find it's the initial setup that's the hardest. And then once you get that word of mouth, that's when the magic happens. Because then it's just people referring to their family, their friends, their colleagues. And, anytime somebody has something where it's like, oh, it's an actual referral, great. They're going to jump on in and they're going to try it. Because they're like, well, my friend liked it and they had, they're feeling better. So sure, okay, I'll try you out. But I find, yeah, in the beginning, it's a lot of networking and I found that to be a great way to start because you're just trying to get the word out that you exist at first and like let people understand what it is that you do, because it's an unlike acupuncture or massage. People are going, you do what? What
Yes.
is stretching? What's, or what's lymphatic drainage, whatever it is. It's like, wait a minute. Okay. So you kind of you're educating. And so sometimes I'll be like, hey, well, let me give you a little demo. Then you can experience it. I think that's the best way. So, and then, ask them to post something on their page so it gets their whole network. So I think you just kind of jump through all the avenues, and I find some of those ones are the best of just, let me just network. And then once the word of mouth starts, then you're like, all right, now the energy's going. Now it's taking on its own energy and you don't have to do quite as much as you do in the very beginning.
So wait, I'm just curious because like I'm in that, stage of my business where I'm on the 8th after this. So I've always been curious to see how people like yourself, like starting from the ground up, what they did, what didn't work, what has continued to be working for you. And I've kept hearing from other practitioners, word of mouth, word of mouth. so to
Word of
speak,
mouth.
to be like that.
That's the one. And it's like, and it takes a minute. So in the beginning, you do have to you're going to reach out to people. I think even offering, like for me, when I've said, okay, here's somebody who is in a field where they have clients that could use what I do. Great. Let me give you, would you like a little free demo session so you can experience it? Because I think experiencing it is really powerful. And then great. Will you share it with people? If you have social media, would you pop a video on there for me? Kind of thing, And so I have had people do that. Like if you look at my page, because I'm rebuilding, I have some collabs with people, and those are maybe people that I reached out to sometimes, or it's like, hey, how did you like it? Like, tell me honestly first. And then, you just, so I think it's ways of reaching out to people first, but word of mouth is when the magic happens. But, initially you have to let people know you exist, and then, and then the word of mouth gathers, and then you're like, oh, okay, great. Now I can just sit back and do all the sessions that I want to do, which is wonderful. But in the meantime, maybe you've met a lot of amazing people, or you've built connections in in your community, which is great. So like now I go, oh, I have a personal trainer that I would, refer people to, or there's an acupuncturist or two that I would refer people to. And so you get to kind of build that up at the same time, which I think is really great, having a network.
For you, what's your long-term goal that you for your practice and your business? Like, what do you see yourself doing? Do you see yourself doing FSD, or trying to open up practice? Like, what is it?
Yeah, I think I'll keep adding in different modalities. Like I love FST. I loved adding in the manual lymphatic drainage work. There are other courses I'm curious, because I always like to keep building my toolbox and learning more. Um I'm not someone who's ever been interested in having, a bunch of people under my wing or care, or a big practice. I would love to bring on one person. I think that would be my ultimate goal. In California, I'd honestly built to a point where if I wasn't moving, I would have brought someone on and I would have dropped down to like, great, I'm working 4 days a week and I've got them coming in. And then, because I love traveling, I love bouncing to other places. So I'd love to even, do pop-ups in certain spots. I think that's fun, just to like add with the travel. I was like, great, let me travel. Let me do like pop-up sessions somewhere. I think that's interesting to me. But as far as, yeah, I just have my own, have my own office, and have one person who just ultimately, great, we can work well together, and they can come in and join me and work the days and hours I'm not doing, and have someone that just I trust, so that if I'm out of town, my clients could also see them, kind of thing, and vice versa.
Mhm.
So that for me, because there's so many things I enjoy, but I love the freedom of, one of the reasons I got into this work is I was like, I want to be my own boss. And so for me, that was really important. And I love that aspect with this work. And, it's like, yeah, it might be, or energy, but it's the kind of things I like to do, of like, okay, building a business, great, I can do that. Like, that's fine. But it also means I have the freedom to say, oh, like just the other week, I jumped out to California and saw a bunch of my, old clients, and like walked the beach. I was like, great, okay, I can do that, because it's my own schedule, it's my own timing. So I love the freedom of that. So yeah, for me, not really interested in a giant enterprise, but I love the idea of bringing one other person on and getting to work with one other person that way. It would be amazing, and doing pop-ups in other places.
Yeah, that'll be intriguing. Yeah, I'd love to see that someone start doing that on social media, just like do some pop-ups in different countries, different states.
I would love it. I would love to. Different states is easy. The different countries is a little bit harder, just because it's hands-on work. I was like, I would love to do that though, because like I love traveling the globe. So I'm like, great. Somebody would have to host me though. I think that's the way it works. It's like that's how you can make that one work. It's like, okay, I'm listed under this person's like umbrella. Great. So yeah.
How do you see fascia stretch therapy evolving in the future? And you've been doing this for 7 years. Probably have seen the growth of it, and the influx of people. But in your eyes, where do you see FST going?
Gosh, yeah. I think we just obviously we keep learning more about fascia itself. So that would just influence, I think, the work a bit, or just nuance it more a little, different ways. I think though the basic principles are really gonna always be there. Like, let's tune into the nervous system, first of all, first and foremost. Like, that's one of the first things I do with any client. We're not gonna get anywhere unless if your if your nervous system is constantly in that sympathetic state of being. So it's like, okay, first and foremost, we're gonna tap into the nervous system. We're gonna listen to your body. I think those basic principles will never change. I think those are the most important ones. No matter what, it's like, all right, let's tap into the breath. Let's tap into the nervous system. Let's calm the body down. Let's listen to it. And when we listen to it, then we're just gonna like already like I'll do FST moves and stretches, but it's like over time. And I think also because I'm a dancer, like I remember, and talking about this because both Ann and Chris are background in dance, which I loved when I'd be like, okay, you understand that language in mine too. But she's like, oh yeah, because we're used to being creative and using our brains in different ways. So it's like already I was like, okay, well, if I feel a restriction, then I'm just gonna start to listen and play. And yeah, okay, I might do some of like this. I'll definitely do like certain stretches that you learn, but as they kind of say in the course too, like, yeah, play with it. And so I definitely do that already. And I'm listening and I might be something I'm like, this isn't maybe like, but I'm using the principles as they say of like, okay, I'm listening to the body and we're listening to the nervous system and we're just gently unwinding that. But so I'll be curious to see what shifts and change. I think it'll just be our knowledge of fascia in general that might influence that a bit. But I think the basic principles that are really important, like calming the system and listening to the tissue, that's really where it's at.
Yeah. I feel like so. I know you do lymphatic drainage and whatnot, but have you incorporated a lot of lymphatic drainage with FST, or is that kind of like in a separate service that you do?
I generally do the both in the same. I'll start with the lymphatic drainage to clear those pathways.
You do like the big clicks? What do you do?
Do you do so the big six? Yeah, Dr. Perry's work is amazing. You kind of build on things with a client. So it's like, I'll start with initial like full body points and we see how the body handles that. Does it have a detox? Does it have, how to do with that? And then we can kind of build and move forward from that until we get into the deeper lymph work, around the gut, etc. But they're always, and depending on what that person needs too. So it's again, we're listening. But so I'll actually start, with everyone who's cleared to do lymphatic drainage. I start with that, which I find is another great way because it's very gentle and calming to help the whole system wind down when they first come in. So if they come in a rush and it's like, stressed, whatever, this energy, and then you go, okay, we're gonna breathe. We're gonna go through these points, and then from there, after that, like 10 to 15 minutes of the lymph work, then I'm going to go into the fascia stretching. And now it's like their body's already generally like, okay, it's a lot calmer. So it's great. It's able to now start to receive that work and be able to release through the limbs a little bit better. So I love combining the two because now if somebody comes to me and, it's like, whatever they're talking about, their discomfort or like, oh, I have low back pain or I have this or that. Okay, now I can think in my fascia brain and I can think in my lymph brain, and I'm also going to listen to the body. But I love it because then it's like, okay, I'm going to dive in a couple of different, I have different avenues that I'm like, oh, it could be this, it could be this. All right. So let's just see what the body feels like. And it'll help me, determine, it could be a combination, but I really love combining the two. I think it was really amazing when I added that into the practice as well to see results through there. Cause some people, it's more of a lymphatic issue. It's like, oh, that lower back pain, that's because your gut's really not happy. Sometimes that's the case. And not to say like fascia work could totally help with some of that, definitely with like the tension, but then being able to specifically dive in a lymph way is really amazing because that can be the piece that clears that. That's what it really needed was some of that. So, but the two working together are great.
Where did you get your training from for lymphatic drainage?
I did do that through Dr. Perry. I did like I've done at least 4 of his courses. Yeah, so I really enjoy his work. I also enjoy that he has the same idea of like, I just want to use the word play, but that like Anne and Chris do in their courses of like, yeah, we're learning a lot and your brain's going to be ready to explode, but also you can, you can have moments of like laughter and you can, it's not all super serious because your body can absorb more when you actually are just enjoying and you have a bit of that play in there too. So yeah, I've enjoyed his courses for sure. I'd like to delve into another form of lymphatic drainage too. I think would be amazing, but there's so much. I have so many courses I'm all links.
That's cool. I guess my last question would be for you. I know you probably hit upon this, but like, what marketing or sales strategies have you found most effective in growing your business and the least effective?
Gosh, most effective or least effective? Well, it's really interesting because now that I built on Santa Barbara, California, and then rebuilding here, and of course, it's a very different clientele, I feel like, but at the same time, I'm doing similar things. And I think that's still the piece that those are working. I remember out there, I tried doing, and this I think works for some people. I tried doing demo sessions at, gyms or something, being like, hey, let me come in and do like, people can sign up for 10 minutes or whatever. And I found that actually to be less effective for me, at least when I did that in California, and more effective when I reached out and worked with people that I met, and maybe I found them on Instagram, but it's like, okay, great, this personal trainer, and they're going to come in, we're going to do a demo, and they post it on their site. Or they really enjoyed it. So they start telling their clients about it. I found that to be more effective. And then I think definitely doing some of the things like Google ads and Instagram ads, just because it reaches people a different way. And then they can look at your website or give you a call and ask some questions, whatever it is. I found those to be more effective for at least the places that I've built. I think it can be different depending on where you are though. Because I know some people I think had more success with doing demo sessions at different gyms and things. And I was like, I did like a handful of those, and those really didn't bring me like as many clients. People just were like, "Ooh, something free, great, let me jump on the table." The people who find me are ones who are like, "Oh, I'm really interested in actually shift. Like, I'm ready to like take care of my body or shift. Please help me shift out of this discomfort or pain." And so I think if people, again, the referrals and the word of mouth once that starts, but in a way, word of mouth, if you reach out to someone, give them, a little demo of it and they tell all their clients, that's a referral right there. So people are more likely to try you out when somebody else has done the initial tryout. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing that referral. I think it's kind of like just embedded in me from the many people who've been doing this a long time, like how well they've built the business just by referral. So I think I'll continue to hone in that, and doing offering demos, reaching out, because like I find that currently most effective with all the demos I've done at different gyms, like you said. And I'm in Maryland here.
Yeah.
Definitely, even if they're like, physically active at the gym, like I just haven't found anyone, probably because like you said, that mindset of, oh, it's free, and they don't really think follow up. Even though I've gotten their contact information, never panned out.
Yep.
And so
yeah, I think the people who are really interested in shifting are the ones you're going to find it. And yeah, it's going to be through referrals more often and then through that word of mouth as that starts. But yeah, that's definitely been my experience.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Aria, for hopping on to my podcast. If you don't mind sharing with the audience how people can follow you, book a session. So feel free to share with us your email, your social media handle, a website, or any way to basically book a session with you. So go ahead.
Absolutely. It's easy. Everything is under Stretched by Ariana. Ariana is with one N. So my Instagram handle, Stretched by Ariana, website, stretchedbyariana.com, email, stretchedbyariana@gmail.com. You can reach me through all of those. And I'm in Brooklyn, New York. So come through. I've got a couple of locations in Brooklyn, which is great. So it's, depending on what neighborhood somebody's in, they can get to me quite easily, which is wonderful. So yes. And thank you for having me. This has been great.
Yes, you're welcome. For those of you who are looking to learn more about this fast stretch therapy, where Chris and Ann Frederick have founded this and been doing this for 30 years, please go to stretchtowin.com, where you can find a practitioner near you, in your area, wherever you are in the world. Or if you want to learn how to use modality into your practice and business, you can become a practitioner as well, because we're always to add this into the tool set. But you can mention that Stretch to Go, or Ian has referred to. And don't forget to subscribe, follow, like the Stretch to Go podcast. We're trying to get this out to the community, hear real life stories of practitioners and how they're using it. So once again, Ariana, thank you, and I wish you the best.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.